Bases dropped on Soccer's morning show. Greetings from Auburn, Alabama. John here, Nick there. And happy transfer deadline day, January window, for those of you who are celebrating. Got a lot of stuff to get into before Niko Moreno joins us at 10:30. We've got to check on our MLS transactions. Leagues Cup groups came out yesterday. We'll go over Leagues Cup and show you what that's all about. Premier League teams are spending to $2 billion in debt. I know that's a shock. Evangelinas Marinakis and our friends at Nottingham Forest are mad that they were referred to as a small club. And obviously, we'll go over what happened yesterday with the Premier League plus juice boxes for today. Roberto Mancini could be out with his gig for losing early. And Nick, good morning.
Just a slow day, you know?
Yeah, a real slow day.
Yeah, I'm over here just enjoying my smoothie.
Oh, wow.
Trying to be healthy.
New
year, new me. Same will mess with the transfer window, though.
Yes. So let's see. Good morning, Alex. Morning, Dawn Star. Welcome back. Morning, Harry. Morning, Harry twice, since Harry's on multiple devices in San Antonio, and Pars is in this morning early as well. I know everybody's sitting there going, it's like, wait a second. Morning 4-card. And just to prove that I am, in fact, in Auburn, Alabama, I'll see if the cord reaches. By the way,
why are we trying to prove to people that you're in Auburn?
Because it doesn't look like Office HD. And so people are like, well, where are you and what are you doing? And so I figured I may as well just prove that I'm not an Office HD by opening a window. Yes, exactly.
No, it's too blown out, man. We can't see anything. All we see is like 6,400 Kelvin coming through the light.
Well, that is not your standard background, because traditionally when you see scarves and things in Office HD, and so you've got 6,400 Kelvin coming at you this morning. So boss called date night, and so we're in Auburn. And so we're here doing the we were here watching the game last night where Vanderbilt, God bless Jerry Stackhouse, is everybody's make good game in the Southeastern Conference when it comes to basketball. So we were here for that, and we're heading back. Obviously tomorrow we'll be back to normal and everything. Beyond Goals, our friends there, hopefully joining us at 9:30. We'll get you ready for the weekend and whatever's on your mind when it comes to Atlanta United as they get ready for Memphis 901. And that'll be in Athens. It is sold out on the UGA campus, but afterward, 6 to 8-ish in Athens at Creature Comforts. We'll be doing a post-game show, so come and hang out with us there if you are anywhere in the area, and we'll get all of your thoughts for preseason match day 2 as they get ready for the 2 matches in Tampa and then the one against Sporting Kansas City down in Miami for preseason match day 5. And that's all starting on Saturday. Let's see. Where do I want to start this morning? Oh, probably the biggest transfer on transfer deadline day might be Lewis Hamilton, by the way. I can't take credit for that line, possibly going to Ferrari in 2025, leaving.
Will Ferrari actually win?
Yeah, no, they won't.
No.
Scuderia is having problems, but it looks like he could join Charles Leclerc in 2025. But that looks like the biggest transfer of transfer deadline day so far.
But I want Ferrari to win, John.
Oh, you do? Yes, well, understandably so. But you have some technological issues that you've got to get past Red Bull, my friend.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Pars wants to know if the boss is ever going to make an SDH appearance. If she's that mad about something, then she will. Or if she comes down to, like if she wanted to discuss DJ Durkin on college football down here, then she could probably storm the barricades and discuss how disgusted she is about that particular hire on her campus. So might be on the college football side of things, might be on the Atlanta United thing, but she has been known to crash the party before. Pars also said, last I heard, the league has yet to release the new financial limits. Do we know when they may? When they want to. And it will be buried, and it will be something that it'll be an oh, by the way, when that does happen. Reliability and strategy. Thus, the past year, it was just that Red Bull was fast. Having Lewis won't help. No, it will not. Morning, Dell. All right. So, opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Here is the Abby Better QR code than the one I had. And that is a far better QR code than anything that I could have ever.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, that's a QR code for those of you who are watching either on our YouTube channel, on the Twitch pitch, or on the 280 character app. Thanks to everybody who kicks off their day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You see what I did there? The kickoff and the kickoff coffee bit. That's your QR code. Don't forget to use the code soccer down here 15. You get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest it into youth games, youth initiatives, and things that are just cool to them in general when it comes to the youth game. That is Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com.
There you go.
For opening kickoff this morning, I think we have to go to Orlando and talk about the purple team. I think we have to. I think we have to, because yesterday, we talked about a particular transaction, Nick, and it looked like Duncan McGuire was heading from Orlando City to Blackburn. The deal was for $4 million plus another $2.5 million in add-on, so $6.5 million. Decent piece of business for Orlando. And obviously they were thinking that okay, hey, kid comes out of college, lights the league on fire a little bit, and hey, we can sell him. So Blackburn knocks on their door. Orlando. And they're interested in Duncan McGuire. And so they come up with this deal, 4 plus 2.5. Everyone's excited. I guess Blackburn was excited about it. Once again, this is a club that when they were being relegated had their fans smuggling chickens into the stadium. And well, they seriously, and I'm no lie. Look it up. It's up on the YouTubes, but they are owned by the family, the Venky's Chicken Restaurants family magnet group. And so when Blackburn was being relegated from the Premier League, fans at Ewood Stadium got really mad, and somehow they smuggled a live chicken or several into the stadium and released them. And you saw the video of the chickens wandering the pitch at Ewood Stadium.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'd love to know how they smuggled them in, or maybe the security at that point of the season was just like, yeah, whatever, okay, fine. But that's what you're dealing with Blackburn. Look at Venky's chicken restaurants. That's the family that owns Blackburn. So we find out that the deal. I wish I had a flushing toilet. I wish I had a flushing toilet sound. It blew up. Don't know how. Don't know why.
The deal blew up, John. Not the flushing toilet. The deal blew up.
No. The deal blew up. Yes, yeah. That's the important thing about modifiers. My mom would be mortified. Although when you drop an M80 in a toilet, that does happen sometimes.
It does.
And we have figured that out when we were younger. So the deal for Duncan McGuire blows up. I mean, just boom, nothing happening. Silence from Blackburn. Can't do it, and whatever reason, not disclosed, what have you. Duncan McGuire was on a plane.
In flight.
He was in flight. And I don't know I don't know how Duncan McGuire found out. I don't know when he found out. But think about this: if you are the purple team and Orlando, if you are the purple team and Blackburn here, and you've got a deal where you're thinking maybe 4 plus 2.5, and the purple team sitting there thinking, yeah, this is pretty good for a young kid scorer. And the deal blows up. And Duncan McGuire is on a plane going from the new world to the old world when all this happens. I'd love to know the blow by blow for this. I would love to know the TikTok. I want to know how Duncan McGuire found out. Is he still there? Because today is transfer deadline day. Are they still trying to work out a deal? Did he just get to the airport, find out? Did he find out on the plane?
Yeah, probably because it was one of those things where they were like, "All right, we gotta." Somebody put a call in. He must be asleep. We don't know. Call the aircraft. This is the captain speaking. We've reached a cruising altitude of 37,000 feet. And Duncan McGuire, turn your ass around because you don't have a job. Thank you.
I mean, it's oh my god.
I mean, what are you going to do at that point? It becomes the Denzel Washington meme, which is like, I'm leaving with something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving with something.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what. I'm leaving with something.
Okay, so we have a bit of an update, and this was published. Let's see. Oh, actually, this was published just before we went on the air this morning.
Oh, here we go.
From the Star newspaper in Sheffield. And by the way, Duncan McGuire's mom, apparently on social media, has unfollowed everything Blackburn. It's like she was following things, and now she has unfollowed everything associated with Blackburn. But yeah, I mean, literally, you don't know if was he asleep? Do they have Wi-Fi on this plane? Did he turn his devices off and then find out when he landed? All these questions. This is inquiring minds.
I would certainly hope so, because if he didn't have Wi-Fi, that means he was on Ryanair or on an old DC-3 or something. I mean, you can't. So he had to have Wi-Fi. His agent was probably either with him, right? So the agent has to be, at least the agent is getting the updates.
In theory.
Now, yes. Here's the thing. You're getting, I mean, would you imagine he's sitting first class? I would think.
Well, it's also Blackburn. Maybe what's
business class?
Comfort Plus?
Yeah, Comfort Plus. So you're sitting in Comfort Plus. You're watching the first class and business class people get the towel service, the drinks and whatnot. And yes. It's one of those things where the flight attendant, everything starts going sideways. The agent gets the message, transfers off. Sorry, mate. Did our best.
M8, yes.
And then, right then, they look up to, I might as well order some drinks, I suppose. And then, the flight attendant looks up and, just slams the curtain shut. Don't you look up here. Avert your eyes.
You don't want to see what's going on up here.
Yeah, don't you look at me.
No. From Alex Miller at the Sheffield Star. This is from the Star newspaper in Sheffield. Quote, and this has got to be the biggest undersell this week. In what has been a whirlwind 24 hours for Orlando City's USA International Duncan McGuire. Yeah, no ish. The 22-year-old finds himself sat in a Sheffield hotel. So he is sitting in a Sheffield hotel currently, waiting to hear on his future after a mooted transfer to Blackburn Rovers was canceled mid-flight. We bring Jared in. Jared, we're talking about Duncan McGuire.
I'm so glad I'm not late for this.
No. McGuire and his representatives landed in Manchester on Thursday morning, deadline day, and made their way to Sheffield. Both Sheffield Wednesday and Blackburn having shown a keen interest in McGuire this week. It was Rovers who were given the go-ahead to bring the strapping forward over for further negotiations. The Star is aware of correspondence between the Lancashire club and Orlando that cites financial reasons in quotation marks, so we know it's serious, for the board pulling out of a deal. The Star's understanding, with all the usual caveats of things changing fast on a deadline day, is that at this stage it is unlikely Blackburn's interest will be resurrected. That leaves Sheffield Wednesday. The Star is told as of Thursday lunch, so basically 7 o'clock Eastern time this morning, Owls are keen to explore the possibility of a deal, though with the clock ticking, there's wait on a word from Orlando in order to proceed. It's understood the Florida club had expressed a reticence to sanction the McGuire deal before Blackburn pressed on with their bid on account of not being able to find an adequate replacement in time, and it's not known what financial expectations there would be on a deal from the Florida thing as things stand. It is reported that Orlando could now have a forward lined up to replace McGuire should headway be made on a deal, with McGuire sat waiting patiently in Sheffield, and what happens between now and the 11 p.m. transfer deadline remains to be seen. Orlando are finishing up their preseason training camp in Mexico, from where Maguire traveled. So he flew from Mexico. He didn't even fly from Orlando, and due to play a home friendly against Rhode Island on Wednesday. So Duncan Maguire was in Mexico. He catches a flight to Manchester, basically, and he's sitting in a hotel room waiting on word. He has not come back to the States. He has not come back to the New World. He is sitting in a hotel room in Sheffield waiting to find out what is going on with Duncan Maguire and his possible future. So he finds out on a plane, and now he is in limbo. It's like what was the Tom Hanks movie where he's the terminal. So Duncan Maguire is in the hotel version of the terminal right now. He's waiting to find out if Sheffield Wednesday now is interested in him. It's like, yeah, I'm just kind of hanging out. Oh, goodness. Welcome to transfer deadline day, people. So Nick, this just screams 30 for 30.
Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, like the poor kid. Team rivalries aside, man, this poor kid is sitting at a hotel right now with. I guarantee his representatives are there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like,
his mom.
They're like, okay, so what now? Can we find a move? Can we, is there something here anywhere? Like, I you can't help but feel bad for this kid, man. Here he was hoping, like, all right, I'm excited. I'm gonna be playing in England. I'm gonna be playing at a high level. This is gonna be amazing. This is my dream come true. And at the last minute, you get Charlie Brown.
Oh yeah, that's probably the best analogy. That he got Charlie Brown with the football.
Yep, Lucy yanks the ball at the last minute. Charlie Brown whiffs, does like a half gainer midair, lands on his head, and now what? Any deal that is going to be made is going to be like some bargain basement loan with an option to buy. Orlando is probably like, you could, it's okay, just come back, it's fine.
But is it?
No, it's not. It's not. There's no. It's just not. And here's why. Because you had a team that is like, yep, we're going to move you. It's great. So it's good for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to be good for us. And, you have, we wish you the best of luck. This is amazing. It's a great opportunity for you.
Luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah, everyone has already said goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And
you can't come, what are you going to do? Walk back? Oh, well, yeah, sometimes it happens, man.
Hey, guys, what did I miss?
Hey! So, but, and then if some team calls up, well, I guess we'll take him. Loan option to buy, I guess. I don't know. I mean, do you really want to do that?
I mean, Jared, do you really want to do this?
I mean, so you put up numbers last year. Somebody's going to want it. Assuming Orlando. I mean, I assume Orlando does, because I assume you do a deal like this. Like a guy who balled out his first year. It's a, hey, man, do you want to go play in England?
Yeah.
He did really well. Yeah, sure. Okay, well, we got an offer of pretty good value. We'll accept it because you were a draft pick. We're making money on this deal hardcore. And if you want this deal, we can do it. Oh, deal fell through. So now you go back. Hopefully it's not like an awkward thing where like the club like had packed his bags for him and threw them out the door. And hopefully this kind of deal feels like one where it's like pretty amicable. Like, hey, we're going to make money on this. You get to get a chance to go play in England and a chance to move up through England. Like everyone benefits here.
Oh, my God.
But so hopefully when he comes back, they're just like, hopefully everyone's able to just kind of be like, hey, that sucked. That didn't work out. Well, I guess preseason's here.
Yeah,
and it just doesn't get. Hopefully, it just doesn't get awkward, and hopefully everything's okay, and hopefully he's okay because that has to suck. Like I said last night, thank God for in-flight Wi-Fi because could you imagine landing on the ground and you turn your phone off of airplane mode?
Oh no!
And your phone just stops working because
my God.
it's nothing short of HAL is built to process that many notifications at once.
Oh my God! I mean,
Alex Pacine brings up a great point. He's like, this isn't quite as dirty as Lucho to PSG.
yeah, that's
Lucho
true.
to PSG was like an A24 film. I mean, it was.
Never forget that DC let Lucho go for free after that.
Yeah.
No matter how angry or bitter or sad you are about your particular team at any given moment of your life, there's some team out there that is stepping on rakes more aggressively than your team is. And never forget that DC absolutely pulled a sideshow Bob and just kept stepping on rakes over and over again. And one of those was letting Lucho go for free and getting nothing for him. Then watching him come back into the league and win MVP with a supporter shield winning Cincinnati team. Good job. Good effort, DC.
Well, DC has picked up apparently Chris McVeigh from Messi and Friends.
What position does he play again?
He would be on the back line, sir.
Oh, yeah. So who is playing back line?
No one's playing back line for Miami. This is arena football, dude.
Did they go? Are we going back to the pyramid, like the inverted pyramid? Are we really going back to that where there's like?
Yes.
I mean,
it's a 217.
Jeez.
Oh.
Poor Calendar's going to be in the back. Like he's going to be just doing the rosary, like every time anyone on the other team gets a ball and hoofs it forward, he's going to be doing a rosary.
I mean, last time out against Al Hilal, you got to see literally the lobbing over the top. Noah Allen, who was playing like a left center back. He looked like the safety that got burned on a bomb. And he's like looking over his head, and it's like I don't have any help over the top. I'm in trouble. And you see Noah Allen look over the top.
My favorite example of that is, what was it, 3 years ago? When, I guess it's been 4 years ago, when Alabama won the national title over Ohio State. And there's that one play where Alabama basically runs a Y cross, except more of an X cross, with Devontae Smith in the slot, and they run like it's a crossing pattern that cuts up the field.
Yeah.
And it ends up with like an Ohio State linebacker matched up with Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
That's how it looked. Because if you were that play just lives in my brain because it's him running a Y cross and then cutting up the field, and this poor linebacker and he's not like a modern linebacker. I forget who it was, but he looked more like a late 90s Penn State linebacker. Like he was
like Shane Conlon type.
Yeah, like he was athletic as hell because he wasn't like standing still, but you could just see the distance developing between them and just the look in his body of, oh God, there's no one back there. What do you want me to do about this? It was like watching someone try and do a shuttle run against a cheetah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that and there's more of that today, I think, because today is, I think, the first, and over there's a new. This was supposed to be, I think, this wasn't today supposed to be Messi and CR38.
I don't know.
Last dance or whatever.
No, I have no idea.
So anyway, I think it was supposed to happen today, but CR38 is nursing muscle injuries and still take the over on wherever that's going to be. I think it's going to be on MLS on Apple or something. So yeah, go if you're inclined, go watch it. We're not. So there you go.
Yeah, I would rather drink Drano recreationally.
Yeah. So Duncan McGuire is in a Sheffield hotel waiting to figure out whether or not Sheffield Wednesday or the awkward return for Orlando City. And so that's opening kickoff, by the way.
Could Celtic or somebody call him up and be like, all right, yeah, come on up?
I'm actually not sure when the Scottish. Let me check. Scottish transfer window.
League's Cup conversations coming up next, by the way.
I'm not sure when the window ends officially.
I would think they'd be on UEFA's window, right?
I would imagine. But it's Scotland, though, so you kind of have to, like...
There's some renegade element that's gonna...
yeah.
Look, when you've got a stadium that's nicknamed the Spaghetti High, there's definitely a renegade.
Oh, it is. So it ends. It closes later this afternoon, our time tonight.
Okay,
their time. So they could. Somebody could pull that off. Celtics too busy like hammering. They're trying to hit nails, and they keep hitting their hand instead. So they're doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's I just look. You know what? Sheffield Saturday and Sheffield Sunday, both of them would never do him like this.
No, they would not. No.
Wildwood Derby's this weekend for all those involved.
Yes, there you go.
I just want to know where it went wrong.
Yeah.
I want to know where it went wrong. Was it that the board said, hey, we're bringing in this player. This is who we want. This is the player who we think fits the profile. And the manager's like, no. Yeah, this is what we want. Manager says no. And finally the board's like, he's already here. Yeah, I don't care. Don't
care. Not interested.
And, all right, fine. And so then, sorry, bud. Wish we could help you. Don't,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just hilarious to me that this is what's happening. I don't know. How in the world you let a player get all the way to your town, and then, and here's the thing: it's not even like he didn't even take a medical. It's not like we were talking about yesterday. Was like find something in medical. It was no. We're not even going to let you in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're doing the fan tour, you're not coming in.
Yeah. It's like, bruh, not happening. It's like, we like you. We really, really like you. Mm-hmm. But the folks that own Vinky's Chicken, they're just kind of like, nope. I'm just, I'm with you, Nick. I want to find out, and maybe Duncan McGuire's mom can tell us, but I want to find out where this thing absolutely just fell down. And my gut tells me it's actually with Venky's and with the ownership group itself, as opposed to managers and things. They're like, oh, we're gonna be spending $6.5 million on an American. Oh, yeah, KFC, I think you're spot on. It had to be Blackburn ineptitude. So that's where
this feels to me like either one side or wanted this deal done between like the board and the sporting director side, and the manager didn't, or the manager wanted the deal and the board didn't. But considering the sort of bum rush to buy American players now, because you know that you're going to get them for value, and that you're going to get a brand boost.
Right.
This just feels like there's just something rotten here. There just feels like something rotten here. The poor kid didn't even take a medical.
Nope. Yeah. So like I said, I'm with the Blackburn ineptitude tack here. That's my thought. So Duncan McGuire and his travel plans, opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. That's your QR code for those of you who are watching video sense, whether on the YouTube channel, the Twitch, or on the 280 character app. Don't forget to use the code soccer down here 15 to get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10% reinvested in youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff that they have earmarked to help out the growth of the game. It is Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Leagues Cup stuff came out yesterday. We really hadn't had the chance to talk about Leagues Cup because, of course, they waited until after the show was over to break out the groups.
Of course.
July 26th to August 25. And once again, everybody from both leagues is in. All 29 MLS, all 18 Liga MX. And pause. It's all going to be on Apple TV. The two teams that are not going to be participating in the opening round are your two champs, Club America and Columbus Crew. They get to be dropped into the round of 32. They get to kind of hang out. So they're going to be hanging out for a while. And then they come into the round of 32. Groups were announced, and they have it a little differently this year, where they have a tiered Leagues Cup ranking system and hubs for the highest ranked Liga MX clubs. So there will be some matches out of the first round in Mexico, so Liga MX teams can have home games and things like that. And so they came up with a tiered structure for groups of the 45 participating teams. Atlanta United, on a tiebreaker, lost out on being 14th, and so they are 15th. They are the bottom team in Tier 1 of 1 through 15. So of the 15 teams in that tier, once again, 13 of them are participating in the opening round. Tiers were determined, divided into all of those groups. For regions, they're going to be playing in 2 regions this year, East and West. 7 groups in the East, 8 in the West, regionalizing travel for participating clubs. We like that idea too. Hubs. Liga MX champ and the 3 top-ranked Liga MX clubs are granted hub privileges, minimizing Liga MX club travel, rewarding them with predetermined venues as the home team based on Leagues Cup ranking. Following clubs have hosting privileges through the semifinals. It's Club America. Round of 16 is Monterrey. Round of 32 is Chivas, and Tigres has group stage privileges. You have group stage privileges. You feel like you get handed like a card or something. You get a gold card, a bronze card, a platinum card, something like that. You have semifinals privileges. You get the platinum card. So 77 matches. Second and third place finishers and the Cup champ qualify for the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. 2 group stage matches. Top 2 teams from each group, determined by points, reach the knockouts.
Working on this button.
What are you working on?
Huh? Yeah, I had to pull something up there.
No matches will end in a tie that goes straight to penalty shootout. Regulation wins 3 points, so on and so forth. And they'll get the tickets. All that info is going to be announced a little later on. But the Atlanta United group, Atlanta United is E7 for those of you who are following along. Atlanta United, Santos Laguna.
Hold on, what was that? What was that again?
East 7. So East. Yes, Atlanta United. So Atlanta United gets to sink the battleships of both Santos Laguna and DC United. That's a group I think that can be had by Atlanta United. I think that's a decent piece of work. I think Pars likes the draw, and he's not the only one. I think that's a draw that can be had getting out of that group. Interesting other groups. Let's run through the other groups here just to lay things out. E6. Are you going to sink another battleship, Nick?
We'll see.
Pachuca, Red Bulls, Toronto FC. By the way, it looks like Bernadeschi might be heading back to Italy.
Of course. Death taxes, of course. Yeah.
E5, the Revs, Nashville, and Mazatlan, the Kraken, are in E5. I still have some serious concerns about Nashville, and I know I'm not the only one. E4, Philly, Charlotte, and Cruz Azul. There's some Charlotte news that we can talk about coming up in a little bit. East 3, Tigres, Puebla, and Messi and Friends. That's going to be a fun group. East 2, Purple Team, Atlético de San Luis. So you get to see both Johnny Vial and Jürgen Damm. And CF Montreal. East 1, FC Cincinnati, NYC, and Querétaro. West 1, Monterrey, Pumas, Austin. I think Austin's in trouble. West 2, Chivas, and Cali Classico. San Jose, you get Cali Classico in Leagues Cup. San Jose and LA Galaxy. West 3, all caps, FC Dallas and Juarez. Toluca, Sporting, Kansas City, and Chicago Fire in West 4. West 5, León, Timbers, and Rapids. West 6, Seattle, Minnesota, Necaxa. West 7, LAFC, Vancouver, Tijuana. West 8, Houston Dynamo, RSL, and Atlas. And so those are your, remember, top 2 of each group get out of there, and then you add in Club America and Crew into the round of 32. So 15 leave. You add in or 30 leave. You add in Club America and Columbus Crew. But no, I think that for Atlanta United, that's a decent group. That's a decent group for Atlanta United there. Just saying.
I think it's all right. We'll see. I mean, this is kind of a crazy tournament, so it the normal rules of logic need not apply.
True. Let me ask you both this: do you like it?
Leagues Cup?
Yeah.
Do I like what?
Leagues Cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we going to do this thing again where people get all upset about it, and then outside the tournament they start getting all up, all up in their feelings about it, and then we get into the tournament and you get some weird ass stuff like the Vancouver game that went to like 20 plus shootouts. Everyone had a damn blast. Everyone had a good time with Leagues Cup from what I remember. But then as soon as we get out of Leagues Cup, everyone has to pretend like they're part of the cool kids table, and that it wasn't cool. No, Leagues Cup was dumb. This was stupid. About the trucker, I sat there and watched all y'all have a great time with it. It's okay. It's okay to enjoy yourself. Yeah. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to be wrong and to think, I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, this was fun and stupid and magical. It's okay to feel that way. Hell, Nashville was in a shootout where they lost, and then hand to the ear, hold on a second, everybody. Turns out the keeper came off his line, so we had to basically into the game and bring everyone back and relive the entire game only for Nashville to win.
I know.
It was hilarious and joyful and stupid.
Stupid.
And it was people had fun with it. And then we're going to pretend like we didn't have fun with it so that we can be cool and act like we're edgy. What the hell, man? Are we still sophomores in high school? Grow the hell up.
No, well, it's a battle of, the content versus the aggrieved. And people sit there now and just go, what can I be mad about today? Oh, this Leagues Cup thing, this open cash grab. Oh, this is so terrible. Oh my God, they're going to like the 15th penalty kick. This is amazing. And I will say, and our man Harry brings this up, that the issue is MLS trying to force Leagues Cup and get rid of Open Cup.
I do agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yep.
I agree with that. It is. I have no problem with the grievance of don't take away Open Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine and great. Leagues Cup was just so insane. It was so much fun. And I want to see more of that because, I want more. I love mess.
No, so absolutely.
This is all big mess.
We are fans of chaos because chaos is entertaining.
Yes.
In a vacuum, yes. This is the thing to that point is in a vacuum, Leagues Cup is an absolute joy. It's beautiful chaos. It's stupid. It's wonderful. It should not exist at the expense of Open Cup.
Right.
And this is also a conversation that the league is going to have with the players' union going forward about, we got to figure out how we feel about this because whatever CBA we sign at any given moment is going to help dictate. We're going to have to make sure that we are playing an appropriate amount of games and that you're holding up your end and we're holding up our end. And this gets tricky because you created the Leagues Cup in the middle of an existing CBA.
Yeah.
So how they settle that next time is going to be tricky because the Open Cup has a different kind of magic to it. Well, we'll see how they are able to figure it out, expanding out the roster, spending more money, allowing for more talent across the board would be a great starting point.
Yeah, and I think
recommend that, but
I think
not that simple because you're also dragging some owners into doing that. It's easy for us to sit here and say go spend money, but some owners are not going to do that.
Right, and I think that the larger element in this, and we still have obviously heard no adjustment to anything whatsoever when it comes to MLS's involvement in Open Cup this year. I think that if Major League Soccer had adjusted their participation rules going into the discussion. And it's like, okay, look, we know things have to be a little different. We get this. And instead of saying, no, we're only having our second teams in there, and I think, Nick, if they had phrased it better, where it's like, okay, we're going to have our first teams, and I'm using air quotes, we're going to have our first teams will be active in this tournament, but it will look a lot like LAFC in the Open Cup last year against Monterey Bay, where they brought in a lot of LAFC 2s, said that's what they were doing, and they still could not lose. They still couldn't lose the game. They started 7 LAFC 2 kids and still couldn't find a way to lose. They took it to the extra 30, and they still found a way to win.
Well, here's where the micromanagement comes in of MLS, right? Which, for all the grief that MLS gets for their micromanagement at times, it paid off during the pandemic because they were one of the few leagues that did not have tremendous financial issues, right? I mean, even the big boys around the world had teams that were 2 steps away from folding because the finances got so dire. But the challenge here is that you can't run MLS like you do the NBA, where you tell the players, hey, look, you have to play like 64 games. You have to. We can't have you doing load management and only playing like 45, 50 games. And if you go by that and just tell these teams, okay, you're all adults, you choose your own adventure. And if that means you look at the landscape and say, Open Cup is our best shot to win a title, great. Put your first team out there, go crazy, go hog wild, and have a great time. And you may pay for it in MLS regular season. That's fine. That's your business because you're adults.
I mean, Sporting got off to that awful start and invested everything in Open Cup and made the run, and I think they almost backdoored their way into the playoffs. They threw everything because they had such an ishy start in their MLS season. They threw everything at Open Cup because they had that opportunity.
Right. And so what you have then is an opportunity for, even though if you're the league, you have to look at this in totality to say, okay, we have standard MLS play. We have teams that value that more. So they're going to put all of their resources toward that. And then they're going to put all their second team into these other tournaments, Open Cup, Leagues Cup, whatever. That's, your choice. But when you have something like Leagues Cup and a team like Minnesota, who's just discombobulated to begin with, says, we're going to go hog wild on this, and they start winning, I mean, it only makes your league more attractive because you're like, look, if these bum teams at the bottom can be competitive like this, hell, that's something I want to be a part of, like, hell yeah, maybe they're not so bad. Maybe, this is a serious league, right? Because they're taking these, even the weaker teams are taking these tournaments seriously. But you choose your own adventure on this. Let the directors be directors and let them choose where they want to put their horses. Now, as far as regular season play goes, do I want to see a team full of 2s in regular season play? If I'm an advertiser, no, probably not. There are ways to address that, There are ways to address it. But at the same time, you can, there are also ways to address keeping these teams competitive and rotating out and having fun, and let's see how it goes. But I don't want Open Cup to go away. I don't think it should go away.
No,
I think we need to make sure that Open Cup stays as it is. I'm of the opinion that teams shouldn't be able to sell their home games. That that, if you're playing Northern Colorado Hailstorm and you're LAFC, guess what? You're going to Colorado.
Yeah, you're going to Future Legends and you're going to play there.
Hell yeah. And so, it's a great opportunity. And I don't know why you would want to get away from Open Cup anyway, because MLS is built around large, like large DMAs, right? Like you're wanting to have these markets like Atlanta, New York. Atlanta, by the way, like top 7, top 8 market.
Mm-hmm.
You want Houston, but there are hundreds of areas of opportunity where you can bring your team, put on a good show, and it only benefits you. It only benefits your league, because you have players or fans rather who say, okay, normally my team's Union Omaha, but I'm now open to watching MLS with these guys who are down the road, but not necessarily my team. I mean, I don't know, man. It seems to me that there's opportunities here, and you need to try to maximize those.
You got a chance to do that. Emilio, I think on a deeper level, most Open Cup fans tend to be MLS to begin with. A lot of MLS fans don't hate Open Cup and may be mixed with Leagues Cup. Don't know. I mean, I think honestly, I think Open Cup fans are probably and if you want to take the bulk number of fans in general, I think that if you look at first division fans, there are more of them simply because it's first division. But then if you were to add in all of the lower division teams that are getting their opportunities, obviously because they're lower division teams, they have lower fan bases and lower crowds. I mean, I can see it either way. I don't think, like I said, I don't think that MLS fans hate Open Cup and probably mixed emotions with Leagues Cup. But that's the thing. It's like, I know it breaks your season off right in the middle, and I know that it's a month of having to focus on other things and talk about other stuff. But I mean, I'm wherever your romanticists are, if that's a word. I think those are the ones that are locked into Open Cup and have been locked into Open Cup. I mean, God, Nick, when we were talking about the run of Union Omaha, when we were talking about the run of Christos FC a couple of years ago, the romance that's attached to all that stuff. Hey, look at these guys that are, that they have regular day jobs and they have to get together and hop on a flight and go to DC and score a goal and get everything, and the world is turned upside down. I think the romanticism, regardless of where it comes from, I think that's what we're at this.
To me, it's one of the things I like about FA Cup.
Yeah.
Right. So like when you have, Liverpool or Man City go to, like these League One sides where it's smaller than a high school stadium.
Yeah.
And you could see that they're having to bring in all these like pop-up lights and pop-up equipment to try to, get the appropriate level of coverage. The bus line is like 47 feet away from the pitch.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so much fun.
Dropped into a subdivision. There's this stadium, and you have to bring in these light stanchions for a game to be broadcast on television for the 7th tiered side. That if you are fortunate enough and you have one of the homes that butts up against the stadium proper, you can camp out in your backyard and watch the game going on as it's being broadcast.
Yes, and that's what makes FA Cup amazing. It's one of the very few British football events I watch.
Yeah,
is FA Cup, because it is that mainly for that very reason. I feel like it's almost like video game come to life. You know, where you have these big sides against these tiny sides, and the backdrop is fantastic. But it is beyond short-sighted to say we don't want to do Open Cup anymore, or we're only going to send our second team groups out there.
Just do the wink. Just do the wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you have to do.
Like I said, just do it like LAFC did. Yes, we are LAFC. Yes, we are playing Monterey Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Our roster, because we are in schedule compression, might look a little different. I think that's how you go about this going into this tournament. And instead of angering Open Cup, angering the Open Cup fans, angering U.S. soccer, angering, the U.S. soccer community, just sit there and go look. I think Harry had mentioned it earlier in the Twitch pitch. Let me see if I can find it quick. Yeah, Harry says basically just play the next pro players and play the next pro players under the first team badge like they've been doing for years. Literally, that's all you got to do. Just do it like LAFC and Monterey Bay. Yes, our roster is going to look a little different, but we're playing in this game. You might have a couple of the bench players start. We went over the roster. I remember when this happened, and LAFC still ended up winning. And yeah, you saw a lot of LAFC twos. You saw a couple of dudes defensively, and your starting keeper is someone with MLS experience. But 7 LAFC 2 starters, 4 LAFC rostered players from the first team. Just do the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't come out and sit there and go, our second team. No, that's not how to win friends and influence people.
But here's the thing, and Harry brings this up as well. It says it's not just MLS teams that do not play the first teams. San Antonio FC played its academy team versus Club Leon last year. Do you think those kids were hyped as hell to do that?
Oh man,
I bet those kids were freaking hitting. I mean, they were doing they were just monster chugging prime before going out there. They were like Stone Cold Steve Austin style, smashing prime bottles together and going out. Not everything requires a response, and I think that's where we are now. Not just with sports teams, this like sort of rules-based environment.
Yeah.
That not everything requires a response. MLS didn't have to respond to anything.
No. Yes, we are looking forward to participating in Open Cup again this season.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you have to say.
End
statement. You don't have to say, well, we're only going to send the second tier team. Hell no. We're excited to participate. Be on your way.
We are looking forward to participating in the Open. Now, Emilio, MLS isn't sending nobody because Open Cup is like, well, if you ain't sending your first team, then you ain't coming to the party.
Well,
so
again, just keep it 100 and say, okay, teams, choose your own flipping adventure. Because when you say we're only going to do second, the second team players, what happens is you're saying, all right, for league play, if you're a team that sucks, you have no shot at any silverware at all. Zero. Done. You have nothing to do to improve your brand. You have nothing to do to improve your standing at all. You allow the mediocre to stay mediocre. Because here's what's crazy. And I've seen this play out time and time again. And that is that people get a small taste of success, a small bit, and it lights a fire.
Yeah.
And they get that, whether it's you're a sales rep and you can't seem to hit anything. You're on the iciest ice cold streak going, and you land that one phone call, that one meeting that leads to that one closed deal. We're on something. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's do something different.
Yep.
And that's what pro sports is. It's like on the Bear season 2, where the guy tells Cousin, here it's the Super Bowl every day, right? When's the last time you bought into something? right? And then this is crazy montage of like the buy-in. Like, okay, all right, fine, I'm going to give into this process to win. If you allow these stank teams a shot of fielding first team players when everyone else is saying, fine, we're just going to send next pro, and these first team guys go out and they go on a win streak, you don't think any of that's going to carry over to the regular season?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think any of that's going to carry over? And maybe the owners finally go, well, damn, our fans, we seem to be, what were ticket sales for this game against like Charleston Battery? Well, I mean, ticket sales were increased like 27%. 27? Yeah. Well, what happened? Well, we were on like a 3-game winning streak here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, damn. All right. What can we do? We're coming up to the summer window. Okay, maybe we can bring someone in to help kind of bolster this run. I mean, keep the excitement going. It becomes a domino effect. But if you put this cap on, this school marm mess of, well, here's exactly how you have to do things, children. I mean, come on, man. Let people choose their own adventure. Let people choose their own path to success.
I mean, and I keep going back to our Union Omaha example.
Yes.
And the Sacramento Republic example. I mean,
yes.
You have, and they are lower division examples here in referring to Open Cup, but Union Omaha took. I mean, they take out Minnesota United, and it was in front of a crowd of like 12 people, but they still did it. And I want to say Sacramento, in their run to the final, where they ended up eventually losing to the purple team, I think they beat 3 successive Major League Soccer sides to get to that final where they played Orlando City.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me for a second that a League One team that gets on a hot streak right there. I mean, if Union Omaha gets on a heater like they did in the Open Cup a couple of years ago, they don't get on another heater like that. Don't tell me for a second that you're not going to have a trickle down for like a triple negative. All of the talk of the new downtown stadium, the soccer-specific stadium that would seat 7,000 in a live-work-play environment. Don't tell me that kind of momentum wouldn't jack up that project and make folks excited about, playing in someplace other than, no offense, Warner Park in Papillon, Nebraska, where you're playing at the home of the Omaha Storm Chasers. All of this talk, all of this momentum can carry off in a bunch of different ways. If you choose to invest, however you want to use that word, if you want to sit there and you want to go all in on the Open Cup, go all in on the Open Cup. Then if you want to, sit there and it's like the regular season for Major League Soccer, yep, you're going to do that and you're going to look the part, and then you might lose 2-1 or something like that to a lower division side. Instead of sitting there and saying, no, we're not gonna, we look forward to, you don't even have to say anything. It's like, okay, Open Cup's on the schedule, and you sit there and you lay out your schedule maker, and it's like, all right, Open Cup is here, here, and here. Your choice how you want to dive in. That way you're not pissing off people by sitting there saying, no, we're only going to have our second teamers in there. But since you've said that, then what you need to do is sit there and say that, yes, we're going to have our second teamers in there, but you need to make roster tweaks so you can have first teamers drop down and be a part of this process. Since you pinned yourself in with that wording, you need to make an adjustment to your roster availabilities so you can have those first team players that might be playing anyway. If you had not said anything, you have to make the roster adjustment going down as opposed to the roster adjustment as normal. You've pinned yourself in with all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Pars makes me think of Wrexham, talking about the time that they beat Team X and they still talk about it. Those lower teams have that forever, and why take that away from them? Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know that there's that concern of, this is going to bring the pro-rel crowd, it's going to give them ammunition. No, it doesn't. The pro-rel crowd, whether Open Cup was there or not, would still be talking about pro-rel. Whether Leagues Cup was there or not, they would still be talking about pro-rel. It doesn't matter. doesn't matter. And they can point and say, oh, Union Omaha beat these MLS clubs. They deserve a shot at being up there. I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a closed system. And we had this conversation when Bama goes on like a 3-title run, and they're like, could Bama beat Team X? Because there was that conversation. Could Bama beat the Jacksonville Jaguars?
No.
It's like, no, they couldn't.
No, they could not.
But at the end of the day, MLS isn't changing who they are, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just have fun, man. Jesus.
Mm-hmm. To Michael Valverde's point, even though it isn't preseason, Michael says this weekend Atlanta United plays the team that booted them from last year's Open Cup. That's a fun incentive. It absolutely is in a preseason situation. Anytime you have a chance to circle back on somebody, it always is. No, Kefsey, you were right. SAC proved that they were at that level, then it all fell apart. Yeah, in the final, you could tell they ran out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Or Orlando just stayed on top of them the entire time, and Sacramento ran out of gas. It was a great run. You get to the final, fantastic showing by Sacramento Republic, but then you run up against a team that is deeper, a team that is, that can figure things out and, play a couple different combinations and permutations of individuals. But no, the SAC got to the end of the line and they hit a brick wall. So no, you had it square.
Yeah.
But no, so no, it will be interesting in these cases to see these kinds of things. A couple of notes as we're rolling through this morning. Charleston made it official. It looks like they've acquired MD Myers from NYCFC 2 after winning Golden Boot in MLS Next Pro. Tristan Traeger has gone to Monterey Bay from Charleston. So you're getting firepower from MLS Next Pro as your firepower has gone closer to home out in USL Championship. It looks like Paxton Aronson's heading to Vitesse Arnhem, and that's going to be on a loan deal. His deals with his parent club is still through 2027, so you're still in good shape there. Yes, Abby, training in Central Florida heat will help anyone's endurance. That is absolutely correct. Yes, it will. And Abby's saying that in this situation that we're talking about with U.S. Soccer and Open Cup and Major League Soccer, it's another reason why they need someone in charge who loves soccer, came from soccer, and has business sense. Not someone we have now who's just business and not have the love of the beautiful game. Sometimes you're looking for that business guy.
Yeah, I would push back a little bit on that, Ab, mainly from the standpoint of to find a person who's gifted in business and soccer and to equal parts, right? It has all of column A, all of column B, and fits the requirements of column C. That's a unicorn. I don't think you're going to find anyone stateside yet with that level of acumen. I don't think a lot of other commissioners would have solved the potential labor strife.
Yeah,
like this group did. Like when Donovan was on an airplane, right? Like the players and the league met on an airplane and just solved it. Like they solved the labor dispute mid-flight.
Yeah.
I think there's that understanding that a bit of the flexibility that exists now with Garber and is not going to be replicated with another commissioner, right? Or another league president, however you want to break it down. That's the only thing I would say about that. There does, to your point, come an issue where I think you do bring something in, Ab, that where it's if you have someone who's too business minded,
yeah,
that it becomes sort of this, like you end up where you are now, where it's a little too much micromanagement taking place instead of having someone who says, hey, look, let the players and the owners make their own decisions, right? which I think somebody, to your point, Abby, with more of a soccer mindset would probably have. They'd probably say that. Instead, you're getting the more corporate, like, okay, well, I guess we have to write rules for this. And it kind of feeds into the idea that MLS is too corporate. So, no, and Abby, that's exactly my point. I think that's the clear example of, at times, MLS being too corporate. And I would like to see Don Garber go kind of swing that pendulum back toward, let's let the teams kind of guide themselves here, because that's the next step. If we're talking about league evolution, that's the next step. First step was stability. The second step was raising profile, and you do that like largely through the players you bring in, the level of play on the field. And the next is, like, we let teenagers drive, eventually without the parents in the car, theoretically. You are going to have to sort of take the guardrails off and let teams figure things out without this sort of, really, really strict rule set around them, and kind of say, all right, boys and girls, you got to figure it out on your own now. And we're going to provide some very loose guidelines here, but at the end of the day, we're going to back off until you guys give us reason to put the screws down. So to me, that's how it should be handled. But it feels like we're getting a little too corporate with the decision-making in this particular instance.
Yeah, well, and as you're trying to expand the brand of your particular property, and you see things that you think can benefit you, you're going to take those interests to heart. Mixed Cup, if meaning the Apple TV deal. If you have someone who's going to knock on your door and go, hey, let's do this deal for your product. We're going to pull it from all of the regional sports networks and all the other elements that we've done in the past. We're going to put it under one umbrella. We're going to go to this new element here called Apple TV. We're going to go that way. And you get to view yourself as an entity that is chasing something that no one else is. And Apple's a league perspective, where it is a league contract, where it is league exclusive, and everything goes into this one umbrella. You get to be that guy that is, okay, yeah, we're the trendsetters. We're gonna be with Apple TV. Yes, they dip their toe into Major League Baseball and things, but it's not just exclusively tied to Apple TV. MLS gets to sit there and say, on a world stage, we are tied to this streaming service. Hey, we're doing something no one else is that we think is going to benefit us. That is where the business sense comes in. Trying to figure out intuitive ways to have Inter Miami and Messi and friends sit there and have everyone under the MLS cap and be complicit with cap rules. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? Being creative when it comes to those kinds of things. And seeing how you can pull this off if you're LAFC, how you can pull this off if you're Messi and friends, all of these different things. If you have a soccer person and not a business person, that part of the growth of the league at year 26 could be falling, and you would be falling further and further behind in your opportunity to be one of the big four, which I think you can be here in this country. If you're not,
let's also look at the teams we keep using as examples, right? LAFC, Atlanta, Miami, regardless of how they build their team. These are teams with ambition. The problem is not that we have some teams with ambition that are too ambitious. We have too many teams in this league that are perfectly okay with status quo and perfectly okay to have that sort of 1997 mentality. Look at what DC United has been for the past decade. No ambition, right? They would bring in some mid players, and we're just building a different way now. Look at Philly. Philly is the most frustrating to me because they could be a juggernaut if they wanted. Yeah. They're in a top 10 media market. There's eyeballs. They have a passionate fan base. They could shoot for the moon if they wanted. Their ownership refuses to do so. So they have to play knife fight in a phone booth because it's what they have to do. You see where the LA Galaxy are now. You see where it looks like finally the Rapids have some.
They've invested a whole $3 million on Georgi Mihailovic.
So I'll take that as ambition. It's at least a step in the right direction.
Yes.
You have teams like FC Dallas, which had previously been like academy. Okay, now we're going in. Now we're getting some players, right? But there are still too many teams that are trying to keep that 1997 energy. And they're mad because you have so many new teams with ambition. Mm-hmm. And they feel like, well, what about us? Not every team could compete that way. Then get the hell out. At every gambling table mm-hmm. in Vegas, and every gambling table unofficially, at every home around town, there comes a time when the people with scared money leave or they're forced off the table. We're raising the big blind to $100. Big blind's $100. You got to go $100 to go in. And you got some people who are like, I can't do that. Then you probably
too rich for my blood.
Can you reach the little blind? Which is like 75? No. Okay, then your evening's done.
Go to another table.
I'm sorry, you got to leave the table. And that's where some of these owners are. That's where they need to be. They need to be told, you're not reaching big blind, you're not reaching little blind. It's time for you can't play Hold'em anymore. You're out. And you've got to move on because you're holding everyone else back. It's like when we were talking about the CBA. Mm-hmm. I raise the cap. That's fine. Or keep the cap. I don't care. Raise the damn floor.
Yeah, that too.
Raise the floor, man, because it's what in God's name? Why are we allowing the mud rakers to hang around? Mm-hmm. Don't move a team if you have ownership that is ready, there's potential ownership ready to invest and go big. Mm-hmm. Which in every one of these markets, it seems like there's someone there to do it. So get these other owners out, these cheapies out. It's insane to me that this is where we are. Because if you get all the owners in the league who are like, yes, we're ready to compete. And they could pressure Garber to say, look, you need to expand rosters. Because it's the only way we're going to be competitive in all these tournaments. Expand the damn rosters. Allow us more flexibility.
Yes.
To bring in additional players for all of these tournaments you want us to do. Mm-hmm. So there's no heavy wave effect. Instead of having big wave, really deep, really deep bottom, big wave, really deep bottom. And now we can reduce the variances between the highest high and the lowest low. It allows us to maintain better if we have expanded rosters. And everyone in the league agrees on this. Don Garber would probably be like, yes. But we have too many people right now who are like, no, spending money is wrong. So you're going to be stuck with it. It's going to take the fans that have the vote to say we've had enough.
And you would imagine that in this day and age, when there are folks that are looking to invest in underappreciated assets, mm-hmm. Hell, as much as we have talked about how valuations of Major League Soccer franchises have grown, we go over the Forbes list every single year when it comes out. And you are talking about valuations of franchises that right now are, even if you were the bottom of the barrel, if you're Colorado, if you're Montreal, you're looking at something in the neighborhood of $385 million for the value of a franchise. And I would venture to say that if you are in that bottom half where you're probably 500, 550 and below when it comes to a Forbes valuation, if you are not willing to invest in your club and bring in the higher price talent to try to keep up with other individuals, and we can sit there and look at clubs and sit there and say who we think they are, there's always going to be an individual that would be interested. For every owner that's not interested in investing in their club, I would say these days in Major League Soccer, hell, in USL Championship or League One, that there are individuals that will sit there and say, tell you what, you're not interested in investing in your club. How about I knock on your door, buy your club from you, and invest in that club? Because businessmen are always looking for those next opportunities, Nick. And this would be one of those, to invest in a growth market, which is what we think soccer is. And we've shown folks the evidence of this.
Yep.
That for every owner that doesn't want to invest, there is someone on the outside that wants in, who would invest in these situations.
Right. And that's why I think you have to really really have to tailor your response here. That it's not just invest. We have to be very intentional with our words. Invest it's almost like the monkey paw thing, right? Like, we want Detroit to win. Well, the Pistons won, not the Lions. Oh crap, we should have been more specific.
Yes.
We have to really tailor our response. And what do I mean by that? Instead of saying invest, you'll have someone who will spend $10 million on the stadium, right? $10 million in upgrades to the stadium. And then they'll turn around to their fan base and say, I invested. Well, how does that help the fans? Maybe give them a little bit of a creature comforts on game day. The game experience is not different because the state of play still sucks. But the owner has that sort of out of being like, I invested, I did what you asked, because it allows them to essentially invest in real estate.
Yes. You're investing in the property and not what is on display. Correct.
So from the outside, it looks like I'm a very dedicated owner because I have a state-of-the-art stadium, Red Bulls. I have, something that looks very pretty on camera, Montreal, and I invest. I don't know what more you want from us. We want fans to have a little bit more realistic expectations. No. That is why you target specifically what you want done. Raise the floor. Expand the rosters. Stop. End statement.
Because once again, it's monkey paw and phraseology.
Yes, you have to say with a level of specificity here, this is what we want. Raise the floor, make the owner spend on the players, and expand the rosters, which allow us to be more competitive. That you have to have this, and you can't allow these, I very few people, there are people who are complete idiots who become exceptionally rich, but they have some level of intelligence and they know how to work around certain things. Like, they employ a team of lawyers who could sit there and be like, well, sure, this is the ruling, but let's look at the language here, right? What are the law is just as much about what's not said as what is said. So be very specific with what your demands are, and if you want your team to be able to field a largely first team lineup in Open Cup play and Leagues Cup and regular season, demand that that Major League Soccer raise the floor on player spending. That's their bottom line requirement they must meet, and expand the rosters. This means that the owner doesn't get to utilize a capex or an opex payment and claim that they're making any sort of material gains on. They're not making any advancements from a gameplay perspective, but they are improving their real estate position.
Mm-hmm.
So when that Forbes thing comes out, real estate valuation is a factor in that.
Yes.
And so if I sink 10 million into a training facility, or I sink 10 million into my stadium, I can look every other owner in the face and say, I am investing in my team. Shut up.
I'm investing in my team. Right. Yes. So Rich says, it's what kind of customer do you want? Fans of what goes on the field, or fans of experience on a night out?
Right.
Columbus owners originally wanted the night out people.
Yeah.
And so that's where you go. That's what that's now. Rich, are you talking the original owners or the current Haslams when they built the Death Star downtown? Yeah, Abby, Dell. No, Dell, I did not get kicked out of my house. Abby is correct. Boss called date night. And so date night is 2 hours and 10 minutes away from Office HD. And so we're doing the show from here today, back in Office HD tomorrow. Niko Moreno coming up in less than 10 minutes, and we'll go through everything on Niko's plate that he has in his mind when it comes to Major League Soccer and round one of preseason stuff and all those kinds of things. So, okay. So it is the Haslams that Rich is talking about. They said that when they open the new stadium, they want the night out folks. And that's, the Haslams are trying to put butts in seats, and they're trying to do it by making the Death Star very, very shiny and making it about the night out experience as opposed to the soccer experience. And that's a delicate balance. But if you're the Haslams who own the Browns and truck stops and things like that as a part of their fortune, you're trying to get folks in the door. You're trying to get them to buy something, and you're trying to get them to come back. And if you're more to the casual fan, that it's great that you can bring in you want to bring in the fan the first time, and you want them to come back. That's the balance here these days. Is what do you do to bring in a fan the first time, and then what do you do to keep them? Because if you're just catering to the casual fan, the night out folks, like the Haslams are when they started with the Crew, then what happens if your in-game experience, your stadium experience, is only good for that one time? You're not gaining fans. You're just rotating folks sitting in seats, and you're not gaining fans that will continue to be there time in and time out. And when your team is not doing well, then all of those seats and all that investment in the new stadium, the players, and all of the stuff on the field, that's.
Well, I mean, like that's one thing that you hear about the going to Hawks games, is that it's more like going to the club, because it's more entertainment based now,
yeah.
Right? Like that. Am I correct in hearing that they have like a barber shop in there, which would be great? I mean, get cleaned up before you.
Yeah, I think so.
But I
don't go to Hawks games, but I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I really don't. As long as the on-court product makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
The Hawks seem like they were willing to invest, which I like. They did a poor job of it. I will take the Hawks situation though over a lot of other NBA teams where there's no stadium experience and the on-court product sucks. Right?
Oof.
I'll take the Hawks situation before I take any of those other ones.
I mean, you could be at a Hawks game and it could be 143 to 135, and Luka Doncic goes for 73, and you have that kind of an evening.
Yeah. But you're probably still going to have fun at the stadium for a chunk of the evening.
Yeah.
And I'll say this with Charlotte as an example. They spend their money poorly.
Yes.
But they're spending. Know? They're
David Tepper. I will give David Tepper credit. David Tepper spends money. He throws drinks at fans, but he spends money.
Right.
And wants to spend it in his way.
And Abby says that the Hawks owner is a very nice guy, very passionate. Like, great. Mm-hmm. I think that's amazing, right? I will take that. I will take somebody who's spending, even if they spend poorly, over somebody who's just like allowing the mediocrity. That
it's a line item on your balance sheet.
Yes. To me, that's the worst thing that can happen. Mm-hmm. You know, where it is a real estate deal. Mm-hmm. We have this large real estate platform in the middle of a high value area, and this asset is something that will only mature, and grow in value over the years, and we look forward to being good stewards of this franchise. Mm-hmm. You know, you
could be Charlotte, spend money, and know that according to our friends at Top Bin 90, Hellas Verona will only be obligated to buy Karl Swiderski should they stay up in Serie A. Granada is finalizing a move for Kamil Jóźwiak, and Enzo Capetti joining River Plate is difficult but not impossible.
Yeah.
So there's Z-Man and Tepper are spending money.
They're spending, not in the way you want.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Which is why I'm going to trigger the Twitch pitch, John. Which is why I don't understand the heat that Carlos Bocanegra gets. I'll never will.
Yeah.
Because if you look across the league, you've been a hell of a lot more competitive than most over the life of your franchise. The silverware that's been won, there are a lot worse places you could be. You know, Atlanta at least seems to spend money with an idea. It may not always work, but
they're not sitting on their hands.
They're not sitting on their hands, that's for sure. And I love the fact that we see more teams. I love what DC or FC Dallas is doing. I love it. They're finally spending.
Well, they're taking the money that they're getting from all of the folks that they are developing through their academy system and sending them on and taking that money and finally reinvesting it in players and not just specifically on infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Dallas is making. It's small steps. Rich says rule number one, any business person knows who owns a sports team knows. Casual sports fan who's there for a night out will spend more for better seats, better food, and VIP more than the super fan sitting upper deck and buying just popcorn and soda.
Yep.
So that's what you're staring at with those. But as I will maintain, once again, I will maintain that for any situation that there is an individual that doesn't want to invest, and you will have an individual that will tap him on the shoulder, sit there and go, you know what? I'll take this off your hands and I'll invest. Last half hour on a Thursday, that means one thing. It means we get to check and see how many cups of coffee and see what's going on the Pacific frontier. It's time to bring in our buddy Niko Moreno hanging out with us on a Thursday. Niko, it is John, it is Nick, and it is you, my friend.
What's going on, SDH family? Happy to be here once again. I see you guys are already getting into some good discussions. So you know what? We have preseason. We have the Sounders' first preseason game. Yeah. We got a couple of new entries into the league. So I'm ready to go, baby.
All right, Nick, I'll let you lead off. What's on your mind first with Niko this morning?
We've been discussing, Niko, the need to be very intentional when making demands of owners in the league, because we've been talking about Open Cup and Leagues Cup and how some teams are, how the league was like, well, we're sending our second team players for Open Cup. And my demand is to be intentional and demand from league owners, improve, to expand the roster and make a true, like, raise the salary floor, not the cap, the floor, to try to make these teams spend more money to improve the product on the field, right? And with some of the teams out there that have spent a wall of money poorly, some who have spent it wisely, and what are your thoughts when it comes to this, and how do we get the teams that don't have ambition to shove them into the pit, for lack of a better term, or kind of stimulate them to get them to start investing more?
Yeah, it's a tough conversation. I mean, the cliche would tell you that relegation and promotion would be the answer. After spending quite some time talking to GMs and business owners, I know that that's not so much of a possibility, and that the league has grown in various ways, including what they've done with MLS Next Pro and all of the youth development tournaments that they currently have within the league. I think that you will see a raise of that base salary in order to shorten the amount of money that you see between certain players, although you see that all across sports and all across soccer in general. There's obviously already a CBA established. There's already something in the works that's gonna have small increments throughout the seasons, but with Messi coming in, with all of the eyes that are currently in MLS, with the amount of tournaments and the clear intent to not get rid of Leagues Cup and all of these other promotional tournaments that make MLS attractive globally, and U.S. Soccer's strong and great decision to not allow these teams to play their youth and basically their farming system teams within these tournaments. I think that you're right. There should be an increase of players, of rosters, and the base salary will come up. I do think, and I do know that at some point after is all said and done, we're going to see that increase. And I think it is important. It's a conversation to have, simply because if we like to think that we're, as a league in MLS, growing as quickly as we have, then there has to be growth within those economical systems, within that salary, and within that roster implementation rules.
So then, I mean, and this was the point that some of us were making, and literally this has taken over the show this morning. If Major League Soccer as an entity had just basically kept their mouth shut, not said a word, or said, the Open Cup's announced and everything, and Major League Soccer had just said, we're looking forward to participating in the Open Cup this year, and then just done it as normal, where you have Seattle playing Northern Colorado Hailstorm, but you have, you've got Paul Rothrock starting all of a sudden, and you're going, well, why is that happening? And of course, you know why it's happening, because of schedule compression and other things. If MLS had just said, we're looking forward to participating in Open Cup, and then all of a sudden on game day, you've got 7 starters from Tacoma Defiance out there with, maybe Reed Baker Whiting, Josh Atencio, Obed Vargas, whomever, and you've got your backup keeper. Wouldn't that, would not all of this firestorm not be talked about? I mean, literally, it would take away a lot of stuff that we're talking about these days if Major League Soccer had just said, you know what, we're looking forward to participating in Open Cup this year, and let the rosters be what they are.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing that blows my mind is that that's exactly what's been happening. That's exactly what it has been going on. So that's why I don't understand the take of MLS to say, hey, we're going to do something that we've been doing either way. I mean, I think they just wanted a free pass to say we don't got to start absolutely nobody from the starting team. And they've been doing that. How many times did we see LAFC with a whole bunch of young starting players that, they're looking up, academy players? Seattle has been consistently criticized by their fans because, in their words, they're not serious about the U.S. Open Cup. And at those times, there is a lot of Tacoma Defiance players that go in, and Seattle hasn't been even remotely close to getting anywhere to a championship in a very long time because of those same factors. And so that's kind of what blows my mind, that those situations that you're mentioning they were already happening. You were already playing with mainly Tacoma Defiance teams, players. And that's exactly why I don't understand the position, the request, the application they try to put in, because it's what's been happening. So to both of you guys' points, you just got to continue to move on the same way you've been doing it. And there are teams that are going to see the need to start a full starting team. And as you get closer to that trophy, then you see teams being completely serious. You saw it with Cincinnati, you saw it with Houston, you saw it with the LA Galaxy at one point. That's all they had to hang their hat on. I mean, it's just about demand. So all in all, we're having a conversation that should have never been brought up. And I think that was the whole point of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, folks want to know what cup of coffee you're on, by the way.
Well, that's number two today. Definitely got up early today, trying to chase down a couple of things that have not come to fruition. But we're here, ready to go.
All right, Nick, go for it.
Yeah, so let's talk about what's coming up for this season, preseason. You got Leagues Cup. Everyone is back, right? We're ready for full gear. Mm-hmm. Are you still excited as you were when we spoke last week? Is the excitement level maintained? Are you still fired up?
Fired up about the Sounders?
Oh,
absolutely. Yes, I am very excited still about at least watching that first game. Okay. Now, I want to say that my excitement is not to be confused by me thinking that this team is absolutely going to take the league by storm or anything. I just look at the West, as we have been talking about, and I look at the core group here in Seattle, and I think that if we compare what they did last season and we take some of the additions that they brought in and the depth that they have today, there is a lot to like there. And because of the troubles that a lot of top teams in the West have, it's not ludicrous to say that Seattle's a top team now. This Sounders team is having an interesting preseason, right? They just beat Baka Topola, a Serbian team, in their preseason game. As is usual per Brian Smetzer, he kind of had a couple of mixed teams in which the first 60 minutes you saw what's probably their starting backup, their back line in Alex Roldan, Nathan, and that's because Yamar Gomez-Andrade is still not with the team. We'll talk about that a little later. Cody Baker played, so no Nuhu, obviously, because he was with the national team. You had Joe Paulo, and that was an interesting first 60 minutes. I believe the team tied 1-1. At the end, you saw some of those movements and passing and possession that they want to display. In the second part of that preseason game, you saw Jordan Morris come in, Willie Ochu, which probably was going to be your starting attacking side as of right now, with Albert Rusnak and a couple of other players. And that showed some interesting stuff, particularly Leo Chu. Leo Chu is a player that is probably under a lot of pressure because of everything that happened, because he knows that Pedro de la Vega is coming possibly and very likely for his position. So he looked great. He was just doing the thing. I mean, both sides of the ball, defensively, offensively. Was the defending from The opposition great, not so much. He got he got away with a lot. He got behind the right back quite easily, but he was great. Had 2 assists. He looked dangerous. So that's something to watch throughout these preseason games is how Leo Chu will take on this season because he has a chip on his shoulder. He wants to show that he's worth the money, that he is worth the time, the starting position, and that he's not going to lay down for no wonder kid. So
Okay.
that's going to be interesting to watch. Raul Ruiz himself, he looked good too, very involved. Actually, the first goal for his team comes off a shot that he hits from a corner kick. There's a deflection, and it ends up getting put in the back of the net. But he looks good. He looks very serious. So with all that said, I think that all of the battles in those positional groups are really picking up the intensity of this group. And there's a lot to like there. And again, there are players that are still not there that are going to come in. I don't think Guillermo Gomez Andrade is going to make it to Spain, to be quite honest. As of yesterday, he's still in Colombia. He's still trying to figure out what's going on. So that's a little bit concerning because regardless of a player trying to stay fit, game rhythm is differently, and not having your most dominant center back for that first game against LAFC on the 24th of February, I believe, it might be tough. So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but he's definitely fallen behind when it comes to getting preseason ready. And this is not crazy. This is something I do want to touch up real quickly. People ask me, how is that possible? How could he not be getting his process and his visa stuff ready? Look, it's in South America and possibly around the world. But from my own experience in South America, migratory paperwork and processes can be frustrating and slow. JP has been late to preseason because of it before. Raul Ruiz has. I believe Chicho Arango right now is also trying to get something done in Colombia that's taking a long time. So it's just part of the process. So to your point, Nick, I am still very confident. I still have the Sounders as a contender in the West to win the West. And I think I have no doubt, and I could, at this moment in time, I put some juice boxes on the fact that they'll be a top 3 team in the West.
So hold on one second then. Okay, so if you believe, if you're not quite ready to plant the flag and say Sounders take the West, is that because there's concern? Where's the concern lie?
Oh, that's a great question to clarify. Well, it's because, to be quite honest, the Sounders' overall potential is kind of entwined with best case scenarios for a lot of these players, health-wise, performance-wise, form-wise. So as I've said before, I think that if you have a top form Raul Ruiz, your ceiling goes up a lot higher. If Pedro de la Vega can come in and have an immediate impact and adapt immediately, which nobody can really say that. There's no one in the world that can guarantee that Pedro's going to come in and be absolutely amazing. I think that if that winger position is changed or the formation is changed, let's say, now with the addition of Dani Musovski, there's a possibility that maybe Brian Smetzer goes with a 2-man forward system. So if you change formations, then you got to give the team a learning curve time to kind of figure it all out. So because there are certain variables that I cannot for sure determine, that's where my apprehension comes in. Okay. I think the talent is there. I think the depth is there, but there's a lot of best case scenarios that goes with it. And in soccer, rarely do you get best case scenarios all around.
But here's the thing, man. I don't looking at the West, there may be better top line starters on other teams. I don't see anyone who has the depth that you guys have.
No, yeah, and that's the other variable.
Yeah,
that's the other variable, because I mean, last season I had a foot in my mouth when I talked about San Luis, right? Because you saw the team, you didn't think they were going to be great, and systematically they were fantastic. They knew what they were doing. The guys fit in perfectly, and boom, they're dominating the West. Boom, they take the West
until the playoffs when they got exposed.
And then they got exposed, right? So, but that's where it all comes in, is in the regular season. Things can change. It's a long, long season. I think Houston, yes, they haven't done any amazing signings, but, you know, you still think that with what they did last season, they deserve a little bit of respect. So those are the teams that I'm kind of looking at there, but I'm with you. there isn't really a clear favorite. And that's why I'm saying that I have no problem saying they're going to be a top 3 team. I have no problem saying that they're a contender to take the West.
Yeah.
But because of all those variables, I can't just guarantee it.
No, I understand. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't. Of course, I was wrong on Seattle last year as well. I thought they were going to get wrecked as of that, like the MLS All-Star break.
And there's still the LAFC component, man. Like I have no doubt in my mind that there's going to be way more signings than what we've seen out of LAFC.
They've only got 17 players, man.
Exactly. And again, it's LAFC, and they cook at their own pace, and all of a sudden they put out this 4-course meal by Chef Ramsay that you had no idea was being cooked in the back. So that's exactly why I'm like, man, you got to wait for that. They did pick up Omar Campos right back for Santos Laguna. He's a solid, experienced player. He's going to be your replacement for Chiqui Palacios. They just picked up a prospect from Colombia, Tomas Angel, son of Juan Pablo Angel, legend. Love that guy. Absolutely one of my childhood heroes as growing up, and he's a prospect. He's a very good player. So obviously not the deep piece signings you used to sign here from LAFC, because they haven't done those quite yet. They have the space to do that, but those are components that LAFC tends to do, little movements here and there, and then all of a sudden they give you their big bouquet, and you're like, okay, so this team is ready to go. So that's exactly why I mean that there's still a lot of soccer and movements to be done, and that's why I don't want to go ahead and just cash in my lottery ticket quite yet.
No, we can't do a Lotto 649 on that one, right? Question from Dell. Dell watches and listens from Charleston. Will the Sounders miss Niko Lodeiro?
I think they will. I mean, I've said it, and I'll continue to say it. In a perfect world, Lodeiro would have stayed here. You see what he's done in Orlando in such a short time, in terms of just that locker room and that vibe and that security that he gives you in that preseason game against Flamengo, just how quickly he connected in that attacking side. It's still early. Yes, I understand it, but you could see what he can still do movement wise, passing wise, right? That goal by Angulo comes off a 1-2 touch between Lodeiro and Angulo. So yeah, I think that a guy like Lodeiro will always be missed because of his leadership, because of everything. Now there is that other side to that coin where maybe it was just time for him to go. The relationship was not as great as he should have been within that locker room. Head coach and himself didn't really see eye to eye with everything that was said and was brought out into light. Would that have been kind of a big elephant in the locker room every single time? Perhaps. But I think on the field, with what he had done, what he can still produce, yes, I think that they'll miss him. Yeah.
Nick, go for it.
Yeah. So tell me about what else is happening in your world, man. Talk about what's because look, we can sit here and we can talk about MLS preseason, but we all know it's preseason, right?
Yeah.
So it's just get out healthy, stay healthy, get people experience. That's like the most important things out of preseason, right? But what else is happening in your world that we should, or what's maybe one thing that you can think of where? Because as we all know it happens. Sometimes the West Coast and the East Coast can seem like two completely alternate worlds. We don't see everything that happens there on the West Coast. What is one thing on the West Coast? Doesn't have to be just MLS, but what's one thing on the West Coast that people on the East Coast should be aware of right now?
Actually, it's a tough question because the West is a lot more quiet and has less storylines at this particular time than the East, because you know that along with the whole MLS world, the thing that's making everybody talk is Inter Miami and all of the what's going on with that team and how exposed they're getting and everything that goes with that squad, right? It seems like any time that they get into a friendly, MLS in general is being judged, is being talked about, and this is supposed to be the superstar team. But if I had to choose one specific subject in the West, I guess it would be the Sounders and maybe Portland. Portland with the new head coach and the movements that have been done there, where they're going to be this season. The Sounders particularly is the League's Cup situation, right? It's the groups were just brought out. They're not in a incredibly tough group with Necaxa and Minnesota. So how far can they go? Is that going to push this team to maybe try to get that summer signing early in that summer window? Perhaps. So I think the Sounders are the bigger topic simply because of what we just said. There's no real king in the throne right now, or at least as of the preseason. There's a lot of tournaments that they have to get put through. I think Brian Smetzer is in need for a good start to the season because if there are two jobs in the West that are going to get hot pretty quickly is in LA Galaxy with Greg Vanney and Brian Smetzer, because this fan base is ready for a trophy. They're going to demand this team to not be good, not be great, not be contenders. They're going to really request and demand a trophy. And there's a lot of tournaments this season, Open Cup, Leagues Cup, MLS. So there will be a huge magnifying glass on top of Brian Smetzer to get these guys going, regardless of new talent, old talent, injuries, no injuries. He has a huge responsibility here. And I think that's something to look at in the West.
So then, all right. So then let me ask about Messi and friends. We've seen they're on their 100,000-mile magical mystery tour, and they've got another match today that was supposed to be Messi and CR38, and apparently CR38 is has angry muscles or whatever the phraseology was. So it's not. So it's not. Yeah. So it's not going to go down today. We've been talking about Messi and friends, and we're saying with the juice boxes. I mean, we're saying it right now. Every match, I don't care where, I don't care when, and twice on Tuesday, take the over with Messi and friends all year long because they are a mess at the back. They let Kamal Miller goes. Christopher McVeigh is now headed to DC. You're looking at Yedlin. Kristoff got injured in match number 1 last time out against Al Hilal. Legitimately, is this going to be with Messi and friends something where they're just going to outscore everybody and damn the torpedoes to hell if our defense sucks, and that's the way it's going to be with them this year? Or I mean, is this going to be one of Tata Martino's best coaching jobs because he has no defense to speak of, and trying to figure out how to sit there and plug all the holes and all the leaks back there?
So this is why this is the biggest topic in MLS, and like it or not, because a lot of us don't want to touch the subject. Believe me, in all my shows, I try as much as I can not to talk about it because other teams deserve the spotlight as well. But you have to talk about it because they demand it. I mean, it's globally in South America. If you're not talking about Messi and friends, and you're talking MLS, then you might as well just be talking about kittens and puppies because nobody's going to be listening to you. So what you're saying is true, and it's not just the back line. Is any coach would tell you that the first defender is your forwards, the pressure, the containment, the counter press. And when you have Messi and Suarez, you can only ask so much of them. So that's for one. Same goes for Busquets, right? Regardless of how great he is and the brain and the IQ and everything he can do, he's still very limited physically, and you could see it, right? So this team struggles in transition. Malcolm gave this team problems. I'm talking about 99 problems. I mean, they could not handle this guy.
And the pitch ain't one. Yeah, I see where you're going.
That's right. Exactly. 100%, right? The pitch 1-on-1. It was transitional defense, Jelling getting too high. Gresso couldn't keep up. Busquets was trying to minimize getting exposed. So it was difficult throughout the game. And this is not a position-based team or not so far. They were having issues with the ball. I thought it was ironic that Ruiz had as good goal as he had because he was struggling throughout the game. Obviously, he's a young guy, just one of those guys that you're kind of hoping he develops. But when you were talking about Kremoski being out for a while, you're talking about Farias being done for the season. You start looking at the depth of the team and saying, look, we got a bunch of tournaments and you got MLS play. So is this team really going to be able to do what everybody's expecting it to do? Because I keep hearing, is this the dream team? Is this the dream team? Somebody asked me if this was like when LeBron, Bosch, and Dwayne Wade got together. And it blows my mind because you can't compare a basketball team where 3 out of the 5 in that court are those guys. In a soccer field, there's just too many components. It's different. Not to mention the fact that these guys are far from their prime. So I feel like those misleading headlines and information does kind of affect MLS in general, because all the globe sees is, wow, Inter Miami just lost 4-3. I don't care if it's preseason, they just started. It's all hello, whatever. Where is this team going? So there's a lot of exposure in general for the league, for this team. But going back to your question, I think they're going to struggle. I think, yes, you're right. Take the over in every single game. But obviously, having Tata Martino, you would think that at some point he's either going to make personnel changes, concept changes, or the soccer module in general maybe progresses and grows into a better defensive team. But right now, it doesn't look great. But it's preseason, right? So we don't want to put too much into it. But this goes to last season too. So there is a lot of data that will indicate that this team is not going to be great defensively.
Or Tata Martino may just take his entire bottle of Malbec and go sit in a corner office somewhere and just say, y'all sort it out. I'm done. I'm going to watch. All right. What's going on with Pulso Sports, Soccer Bar, and everything else going on with you that we need to know about?
That's right. Soccer Bar will get going here in 58 minutes. Going to be a good one. We're going to be able to break down a couple of the things that we kind of just discussed. We will talk about Messi and friends today. We're going to talk about Copa America. We're going to talk about Dallas, Jesus Ferreira. He's going to, we have some audio from Jesus. So it's going to be a good one. Check it out, all in Spanish. Pulso Sports, everything about the Sounders. We're going to have a breakdown of some of these preseason games. We're going to have a breakdown of the roster. And obviously, this being it, the Sounders are not doing anything else except perhaps adding Freddie Montero if negotiations go their way. So we're going to break down this roster, where they're at, specific players to watch. So check that out in Pulso Sports this weekend.
As always, my friend, great to have you on your Thursdays, and have a hell of a show coming up in 57 minutes. And we will catch up with you again next week as we rattle through preseason, because we're only a couple of weeks away from getting everything squared away in Major League Soccer for 24. Niko, my friend, as always, great to catch up with you.
Thank you, Nick, John, SDH family. We'll see you next Thursday.
You got it, brother. All right, so there goes Niko. Let's see. One story with you, Nick, that I wanted to get into before we get into what to watch. And remember, noon to 7 on Peacock, they are simulcasting the Sky Sports Deadline Day stuff. When Big Ben chimes, then you know that the window is over. And so if you got Peacock or if any way to watch it, VPN, there's a way to watch Deadline Day coverage on Sky. And it's been very, very quiet. About 10% of the revenue that was spent the last window has been spent so far in this window. I mean, literally, you're talking like 60 million versus 642 million when it comes to outbounds and transfers. You're seeing a lot of loans this time. Story came up, and once again, 4-letter paper. So take the information at your own peril, as we say. Then 4-letter paper came out with this story yesterday. Insert individual here is keen on making what would be a sensational, if somewhat unlikely, return to Manchester United. Who do you think that individual is, Nick?
Man, I got no idea.
This is Touchline. This is not player.
Touchline?
This would be Touchline, yes. If everything goes sideways with Ten Hag, this particular individual is keen on making what would be a sensational, if somewhat unlikely, return to Manchester United, according to the 4-letter paper.
Is he a Scotsman?
No.
Is it the baby-faced assassin?
I don't know if he's still got a baby face, considering he's got a lot of salt and pepper in the hair. Jose Mourinho.
No, I don't care what Jose's keen
Jose
to do.
Mourinho. Sources close to the
I don't care.
sacked by Roma earlier this month.
No. You might look. I was keen on dating Jessica Alba when I was in my 20s. Means nothing. I was keen on being an astronaut when I was 10. I was keen on captaining a nuclear submarine. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. It only matters to me. That's it. It doesn't matter to anyone else. It doesn't matter to any paper. Jose is washed. And he's washed because what he was a pioneer in, everyone's doing now. The periodization, the antics. The antics in his mind, allowed the media crush to focus on him and not his players, right? That's fine and great when everything else is working. Nothing else is working. And it's just one ping only, Vasily. But one
ping only, please.
But Jose's washed. Is done. Go sit on a beach. Go sit in a chair with a microphone.
Take over for Roberto Mancini in Saudi Arabia.
Not even that. He doesn't even. Roberto Mancini is far better as a manager than Jose Mourinho is right now. Is and was are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Is and was are two different things. You are only as funky as your last cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. It's done. It's over. Go home. You lose. You get nothing. And it's the same thing with Ten Hag, right? They say, "Oh, it's Ten Hag this, Ten Hag that." Look, no. It's you have guys who are being hired because they believe they can institute a culture, right? They believe they can because somebody, either the media, the fans, the board of directors, they're going to have a culture here. Erik ten Hag's going to bring Ajax culture with him. No, he's not. He's not. He could bring the style of play. He can't bring the culture, the buy-in. Why? Because those kids at Ajax were trained since they were like 4 to play that way. That's not how it's done at Manchester United. You can't pick up and transfer that culture. You can't. And Jose Mourinho excelled at a place like Real Madrid, where you had stars who could overcome the deficiencies of tactics, right? Or could institute the tactics at such a level that the gaps sort of were erased. Ramos was an eraser. If players managed to get through a lot of issues, you had players like Ramos, who was an eraser, and Pepe, who was a red card waiting to happen, who just didn't get called that often, right? Nobody else has anything. What?
Mm-hmm.
Jose Mourinho, go home.
Go home.
People need to start being realistic about their expectations. They do.
Go home.
I'm so over this mess. It infuriates me. Yes, we're still talking 4-card because Jose Mourinho can talk about, and I don't know whether he said this or not, or the 4th letter is simply just putting it out there because it's a slow news day.
Close say he feels he has unfinished business and has made it his mission to take charge again should the opportunity arise at some point in his future.
Great. I have unfinished business at Turner Sports. I'm not going back in there. I have unfinished business at Turner Sports. I'm not going back in. It's over. That part of my life has sailed, right? One of the hardest things to do
is to return to the unit.
He's become sort of it's sort of become like problematic's one thing, but there's a lyric in the song Power by the infamous West. It says, do you have the power to let power go? Do you have the power to let power go? Can you let go of who you were? And there's a lot of people out there who can't because they're afraid of what they will be without what their personality has become.
Check.
I'm no longer Jose Moreno, civilian, strong, creative personality, an enjoyable character. I am top flight manager Jose Moreno. I don't know who I am without that top flight manager position.
I don't know who Jose is.
Yeah, and at some point in your life, when you're chasing ridiculous heights, you are going to have to stare in the mirror one day and realize you are no longer commanding officer, captain of industry, leader of men. You're just you. And when you're just you, you have to answer for all the buffoonery you've done in your life. So I understand Jose is not ready to let go of that aspect yet. That's why I have all the respect in the world for Zinedine Zidane, because he walked away from it. He walked away from all of that and said, I'm just going to be Zinedine. I'm not Zidane. I'm just Zinedine. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm going to make my money, but I'm cool being who I am. And you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and be okay with just you. And some people can't do that. Stop with this mess. Stop conflating is and was. Stop.
Those are two separate tenses, sir. Anyone who follows grammar knows that, and the individuals that should be living in the present tense and not the past tense should be catching up on that. Required reading for today. Martin Ziegler over at the Times has a piece on how Everton and Nottingham Forest ran afoul of FFP. It's a really good read. It's a deep read, so maybe on your lunch hour, take a deep dive and look at what Martin Ziegler has pieced together today over at the Times. What to watch and where to watch it tonight. FS2, actually, FS2's got a busy day. CONCACAF Women's U17s Championships at 1 and 4. Then men's Olympic qualifying from CONMEBOL at 6 with Venezuela and Brazil. Vamos, Venezuela! 3:15, USA Network, Wolves and Manchester United. ESPN Deportes at 3, Getafe Real Madrid. Fox Deportes, doubleheader in the Honduran Liga Nacional. Marathon is at 7. Olympia is at 9. Our friends from the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza are part of the doubleheader there. Universo simulcasting Wolves and Manchester United. 1 o'clock is the match involving Messi and friends. Find it if you're interested. ESPN Plus has Getafe Real Madrid. They also have the Belgian Pro League. Fox Soccer Plus has Colombia Bolivia at 6. Golazo Network has Argentine Primera, Union Santa Fe and Estudiantes at 7:30. 2 other games on Paramount Plus. Boca Juniors Sarmiento at 5. Central Cordoba Godoy Cruz at 7:30. Peacock has West Ham and Bournemouth at 2:30. Looks like everybody is trying to chase after Dominic Solanke by the end of the day. And Bournemouth is trying to hang on to him unless the price really is right for Bill Foley. VIX at 10 o'clock, Querétaro and Cruz Azul. Is there anything? Have you? Dell wants to know if you've ordered your Reina Nottingham Forest jersey yet.
I would rather spend money on a 3-piece dark meat spicy combo from Popeyes.
Oh,
which I love.
Maybe a breakfast biscuit, by the way.
I would rather do that with my money.
That's pretty strong. Last thoughts on your mind before we go?
Just so many things. I'm not going to dive into all of it, but I will say, just take a breath and just keep in mind that at some point it's just you in the mirror. This isn't some kind of thing. Don't put yourself into existential crisis because your favorite club is not doing what you want to do. It's just not. It's just not worth it. There's so many wonderful things in life to do. So anyway, until next time, everybody. It's the show that actually tells you that taking a break from watching sports on the vision and touching that grass is okay. It's okay to do that. Put a little bit of distance and space between those things that drive the passions. It's all right. Take the break. Till next time, everybody. Mucha, mucha, Euro, y'all.
What he said. Back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning.